Hi, welcome back. I'm Kayla LeMaire, and this is My Big Easy Home. And I am sharing all of New Orleans with y'all. And today I am uptown. I am visiting my good friend and New Orleans man of many talents, Harry Barton. Thank you
Hello.
so much for being here with me today, for having me in your home, and for sharing your birthday bourbon with me.
Absolutely.
I think I've officially drank on 50% of these interviews now.
They are New Orleans interviews,
Which
so
is
that's
that's what everybody says. Not bad.
appropriate, yeah.
It's a good ratio. It is the happiest hour here in New Orleans on a Friday evening. So Harry is a good friend of mine. You do a lot of things.
This is true.
He's a runner. He's a disc golf player.
Yep.
He throws epic crawfish boils
Right here. Right, where
right
we're
here.
sitting.
It's
This is
great space.
prime real estate at the crawfish table. Right
It
here.
is. It is. You're an attorney.
Yes.
Did I say that yet? You're an attorney.
No.
And you're the front man for the New Orleans Johnnies.
That's right.
Harry, I admire your energy.
Thank you.
I feel like, I do yoga every day. That's like my main exercise is I try to do it on a daily practice. But like basically if I work and make groceries, I'm feeling like super, super accomplished.
Yeah.
For the day.
Yeah. You left out yogi too. I've been doing that
Oh,
since the pandemic started.
Good. How you liking it?
I love it.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the inside of a gym in more than a year and don't feel like I've missed a step.
Yeah,
Which
awesome.
is cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. It's
Yeah.
my favorite. My favorite be in your body kind of practice for me.
Absolutely.
So tell everybody who are the New Orleans Johnnies? Let's start with that.
Okay, sure. New Orleans Johnnies is a band I started 11 years ago now, almost 12. As you alluded to, I'm a practicing attorney, and I really didn't know what that was going to entail when I went to law school and when I got into it.
I think every attorney says that, actually.
Yeah. I think it's the minority that know what it's going to be and still choose to subject themselves to it. But I got home, late from the law firm one night and was like just distraught over the life path that I'd taken, and so I plugged in my guitar as I often did, back then, just to kind of let loose. And it occurred to me that there's no way that I cannot do this. This has to be a part of my life. And so in my mind at that point, I just said, do both. And that led me on a journey to kind of starting at some open mics in 2007, 2008, where I met other musicians. I met a few mentors along the way, which is an attribute I think that's really unique to New Orleans culture, is that you can throw a rock and hit somebody that is insanely talented at music, a world-class master of their craft. And most of the folks like that are sort of willing to share, willing to teach, willing to help bring you along, especially if they see that you're in it for the right reasons, I suppose.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky enough to meet a lot of people like that. And we started the band in 2009. It started as like this sort of almost rockabilly, blues influenced band, and then transformed over time, different membership changes, into more of like a, I guess still blues and rock influence, but a lot more funk, and mostly a lot more, I think, musicality is what has changed in the band over time. As I've grown as a musician, and have learned, I guess I've always done this, is to hire people that are more talented than you for your enterprise. To
Surround yourself with people
Yeah.
who are just a little bit stronger and better than you.
Yeah.
So you rise up to that level, right?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of those folks are like people that are my best friends now. Our current drummer asked me to officiate his wedding like about a year and a half ago, which was like an honor. There are a couple
I want to
of,
officiate a wedding. Somebody asked me to do that.
You got to. It's the best.
I
It
would
really
love
is.
it.
You literally have the best seat in the house at the wedding
bet
because you're
you
looking
do.
at everything as it's going
Yeah.
down. I don't know. I just feel incredibly blessed to have done all of this, and I think it's like only been possible in New Orleans, and because of the culture of New Orleans, and because of the culture bearers that were here before I got here. that make the scene what it is, that make the reputation of this city as like such a musical city what it is, and that attract so many people that want to be here for that. I think all of those things, at least for my life, just sort of came together at the right time and continue to bless me, which is awesome.
That's great. I think you guys have only gotten better and better over the years.
Thank you.
I would definitely say.
It would stink if we had gotten worse.
It would. It would make for an awkward conversation right now. No, great fun, really fun shows. I like going out, and you guys were supposed to play kind of recently, and then all the COVID mess kind of got in your way. I was actually taking my dad to that show.
Oh, man.
And we were bummed, but we saw Honey Island Swamp Band. They were great. So
that was a better show.
It was good. It was good. It was fine. Do you have any sense of when you guys are gonna be playing again?
I do. So our next thing on the books right now is September 17th at Gasa Gasa. I'll say it again. September 17th, Gasa Gasa on Ferret Street in New Orleans.
It'll be on my newsletter. So if you don't get my newsletter, you should.
Which is a super cool venue that actually closed during the pandemic, but then was repurchased and reopened. I've been to a couple of shows there since then, and it's a great sort of listening room that still has a fun, funky vibe.
I like that space.
Yeah, the occasion for the show is that during 2020 we released a studio record, our first like full-length studio album that we recorded the summer and the fall of 2019, and decided to just go ahead and put it out there in September of 2020. It got a really good reception, which I was first of all just happy with the product, like happy that all these songs that I've had in my head for years actually came together in a way that was like respectable, that I think I'll look back on in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if I'm lucky enough to live that long, and be proud of. First and foremost, that's a gift and a blessing.
That is.
Shockingly, to my great shock and surprise, it got nominated for 2 Offbeat Awards.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Record of the Year, or Roots Rock Record of the Year, and we got nominated as the best roots rock band. And then a video that we made for the YLC's virtual Wednesday at the Square, actually shot some of it right here in my backyard, got nominated for best video, and that was super cool because my wife Mandy directed and orchestrated the video. Awesome. Which was a great pandemic project for us to work on together. That was a whole other blessing. But the point was the show, so we didn't do a record release show obviously because of the virus, the pandemic. So we're going to do a record release anniversary show. Awesome. At Gasa Gasa on September 17th. And then I guess beyond that, it's kind of up in the air. We were starting to just get back into our club gigs, when the surge that's going on right now kicked up. So I think we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
We're just kind of in wait-and-see mode. Awesome. Well, I will definitely be at that show, and I'm excited to see you guys again.
Thank you. That's going to be a fun time.
I think so. I think it's going to be awesome. So another thing that you do that I kind of mentioned in the beginning was you throw epic crawfish boils.
Thank you.
I mean, okay. First of all, I will say you are a very good crawfish boiler.
Thank you.
And that is not a compliment that I often give.
No, it would not be and should not be.
So I think you do great. You have done things with sides that I never saw coming. You have the most beautiful space in your backyard in order to host an event like that. You and your wife Mandy are always incredibly hospitable and gracious, which I think to do something like that year after year and as often as you guys do is probably a challenge in and of itself, and I commend you for that. I love to entertain on a small scale. I can't even imagine what it's like, because I've been here and you guys have had sizable groups for some of the bigger ones. What motivates you to do that? What do you love about
everything that you just described to me, like all the sort of compliments that you just threw at me? I get those 100 times during the course of a boil. People were just excited to be here and are very grateful for it. mostly it's because I get the best seat in the house. The boil spot's just that way out of frame of the camera. And so I, hang out there, do my thing, have my dudes that come help me, and get to spread like joy and love to everybody that shows up. And people are just so excited. The biggest boil, as you know, that we do is Bacchus Sunday during Mardi Gras. Bacchus, Toth rolls a block that way, and Bacchus rolls 2 blocks that way. So this is like,
you're in a great Mardi Gras spot. We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah. And so that, I don't know, that day has always been kind of magical for me. And I think the first time I did a boil was on Lundi Gras when I lived over on Chop in 2008, right by Tips, and the floats were kind of lining up there. That was actually the first time I boiled crawfish in my life.
Wow.
And then I moved into this house and continued the tradition, I guess, of doing the Bacchus boil. I think the '09 one came about because some med students that lived 2 blocks over on Coliseum usually had a Bacchus boil, and I've got a big yard here, and offered to sort of combine their boil with my boil because we had a lot of the same friends, and that was the first bodacious Barton Bacchus bug boil. I think it was called.
Good alliteration.
And I'm a big fan of alliteration. It's awesomely appropriate in most situations.
I agree.
And I think I guess I'm one for traditions and kind of starting them and carrying them on.
Yeah.
And so okay, this is a story I haven't told anybody before. This
is a My Big Easy Home exclusive. I'm so excited.
It is. So I guess from an early age, I've always wanted to be a big entertainer, which contributes to the band thing too. But in the 3rd grade, I concocted an idea in my head that I would invite every one of my male classmates over for a slumber party that was meant to last.
Your dear mother.
That was meant to last from the Friday of the beginning of Mardi Gras weekend all the way through Fat Tuesday. I don't know where I got the idea that this would be okay.
The seeds. These are the seeds of some of the greatest gifts of life.
Feasible, that it would be appropriate, that it even be fun past a day. I don't know.
Well, you're in 3rd grade.
I don't know.
You've got a short window for that type of thing.
And so I hand wrote invitations and passed them out at the school unbeknownst to my parents, who then started to get phone calls like, "Are you really offering to take my son off my hands for 5 days during Carnival? Because if so, we're going skiing." And that, once the call started rolling in, the kibosh got put on those plans, and I was, as upset as an 8-year-old would be, I guess. But now that I own my own house, I can invite 150 of my closest friends over for a party, and I guess I've just always wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm a grown-ass person now, so I can.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. It's funny when we sort of peel back the layers and we can find those moments, the beginnings of those things. That's really fun. It's always a great time. The company's always great. I mean, it's a massive amount of work. I can't even imagine. So, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
On behalf of...
It's a pleasure.
All of your friends who enjoy that. It really is something, I know I look forward to it. I'm always grateful and honored to be a part of it, and so I'm sure that everybody feels that way. So thank you, Harry.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, so you have a beautiful backyard. We talked a little bit about the backyard space here and how conducive that is to entertaining. You've got a great house. You live in a great neighborhood. As you mentioned, you're near Camp and Napoleon.
Yep.
What is, for you, the best thing about this neighborhood? Is it that Mardi Gras Sunday?
I think I would have said that, right up until March of 2020, that the Mardi Gras Sunday was the best thing about this neighborhood. And then from that point forward, I think my answer would change, because we were obviously, here all the time. I've been working from home since that time. I'm still working from home. and everything kind of slowed down, and I got to know my neighbors a lot better. I discovered that like a couple of pals that lived next door were actually best friends, like and formed those bonds during the lockdown and the pandemic. And we'll talk about, I guess, the renovation I did to the house in a bit, but
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
in the front room is where my like home office is, and so that was a beautiful spring, and I would just open up both front windows and open the door and just sit there and kind of do my work, but then also just hear the sounds of like everybody going about their, I guess, disrupted lives, or for some people their daily lives continued as they were, and that really gave me like a new perspective on what it means to like live in a community, and how precious and vital community is in New Orleans specifically, and on this block specifically. I mean, I'm sure everybody feels that way about their block, and that's cool, because like what a unique gift to have, to be able to just be kind of surrounded by neighbors that, in my case, look out for each other, treat each other well, treat each other kindly, and sometimes those people might become some of your best friends, which is what happened for me. So I think that's my favorite part about living here is just the community on the block. Now, once stuff started to open back up, and I could walk down Magazine and do all those things again, like the appreciation for that was renewed. But I think my answer has to stay that my favorite part about living here is my neighbors and the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think you've really spoken to something that I feel is one of the most precious and unique qualities of New Orleans, and that is a strong sense of community, a hospitality among neighbors, an openness to people. And I think I have a sense, and I mean, not just in New Orleans, in Louisiana at large. I mean, I've experienced that in Lafayette and other places too. And I have a sense that it is some of our greatest challenges and some of the greatest hardships that we have survived through that really bolster that type of relationship building and kind of keep us entrained to that idea of how important it is to know who's next door, to give and receive a helping hand. That is something that I think is very unique nowadays. And so, if you're living here, you're probably experiencing that. If you're thinking of moving here, that might be a reason why. It's just one of the things I love the most about being here. I think it's great. I was going to say something else and then I forgot what it was. So we'll, it happens. It's the bourbon. It's the bourbon. This is why I try not to drink when I do this.
Half the time, at least.
Yeah, half the time at least, exactly. So I'm always coerced, though, by the folks who, I'm interviewing, which is fine. Like, if you have an interview coming up, feel free to booze me up. It's not a big deal. But you had mentioned, that you guys did a big renovation.
Yeah.
I'm a huge renovation TV show junkie. I have lots of fantasies about renovating a house or rehabbing a house or building a house. And all of this despite the fact that I did do a very small kitchen reno many years ago. I had a kitchen flood and I had to repair that, and I used that opportunity to elevate my design, right?
Yeah.
And I had 3 choices to make in that process. Pick a contractor, pick a flooring, and pick a countertop. And I was so overwhelmed and stressed out that I was like, I'm never doing this again. Okay? So I just I stick to my little room sketcher app. But I'm curious for you, because you guys did, this was massive.
Yeah, total gut job.
Total gut, double shotgun that you converted to a single family.
Yeah. Something
a lot of people think they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, God, there's so many, we can go so many ways with this, but what was the biggest challenge in that process?
Wow, that's...
Can it be narrowed down to one?
Maybe. I think actually pulling the trigger on it was the biggest challenge. Like we, at the time, we were pretty sure this is what we wanted to do. We had like a final set of plans, a contractor lined up. I was still looking at MLS listings, like trying to find a house that would give me all the things I wanted out of the renovation that already existed, that was like close by here.
Having seen your house, I can tell
Yeah,
you,
we
man.
went to look at a few and kind of concluded.
You have a unicorn, I think.
Yeah. We kind of concluded that no, this is not, not for what was within our budget anyway.
Yeah.
We can't do it anyway other than going through with this renovation and tearing up, the home that I've lived in since 2006. So, yeah, we pulled the trigger. I think we got some good advice along the way. A friend of mine, you probably should talk to if you haven't already, about his renovation, redid a house in the Lower Garden District. And they actually lived on the other side of our shotgun, rented from me while they were doing that. So I got to see a lot of that firsthand. And my friend Logan had good advice, and it was very sage and succinct and sort of, it's almost like a slogan. She said, just remember, the yeses are in the nos. What she meant by that was, when you have those overwhelming decisions to make, don't try to like search for that one thing that's going to be your perfect answer, your yes. Start eliminating things that you don't want and narrow it down, and then pretty soon the choice gets less overwhelming.
I think that's a great advice for just
Yeah.
being in a state of overwhelm about pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna adopt that. I like that a
The
lot.
yeses are in the nose.
The yeses are in the nose.
Yeah.
Throwing down the wisdom here today, y'all. Was there anything about it that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I think kind of going through that, elimination process and sort of deciding things was a lot of times pretty enjoyable. I was a big nerd and enjoyed researching all the appliances, like all the, I'm a big cook, not just outdoors but indoors. So kind of like researching what our kitchen situation was going to be and figuring that out and beginning to visualize it was really cool. I think the most terrifying moment, of course, is the day that they like tear everything down and the house that you've lived in, is just studs. But then when it started to get back to that point again, when these new rooms were kind of taking shape, when the add-on that we built that looks out onto the yard, first.
So you guys added on space?
Yeah, so what, the house is like a double shotgun. I think that was built in 1917, and at some point plumbing was added, and so it was originally 4 rooms on each side,
Right.
and then a little lean-to was added with a kitchen, a bathroom, and then the bathroom on the other side, and then the porch on the other side, what I refer to as the tenant side, because that's what it was.
Right.
And so the first thing that we did was, and the ceiling line for that was like, so the whole house has like the arched roof line, and then that sort of was like a slope that met up to the arched roof.
Gotcha.
Knocked it down, and this was Mandy's idea all the way. She said, let's build a back room, in its place that maintains the same roof line, but it's a open ceiling, so it's like this
I
cathedral.
highly recommend doing that if you ever are in that situation where you have an old addition lean-to like that with like a metal roof or something where the roof line doesn't add up. Take it as an opportunity, add it on, match your roof line. It adds a lot of value.
Yeah, and they're all over. I'm looking at one right here at my neighbor's house, and behind the fence there's another one that has the same thing. So I think when that room started to come together and you could see the view of the backyard from what became the living room, kitchen, dining area, that was when it all kind of clicked for me. You used to only be able to see the backyard like from the little window out of the shower in the bathroom or from the back door coming out of the kitchen. And then when I sort of realized that this was going to be like what I looked at all the time, every morning when I had my coffee, I could watch the sun come up and kind of look at all the birds and squirrels and feral cats and lizards and whatever other wildlife.
All of the great creatures and wildlife we have here. In Ireland.
That was like, okay, this is coming together, and this was worth everything.
I do think that that's probably the best feature of your house.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
For sure. For sure.
Aside from the boil spot, of course.
Of course.
But that was here before the renovation.
And you did a lot of work on this too. This wasn't originally quite as spiffed as it is now.
Yeah, where we're sitting used to be a chain link fence and weeds and dirt. We're sitting like on a key lot. There's this one, the one behind me, and then two over there. And behind me, the property used to have like a back house that didn't go all the way to the back of the property. So there was like a maybe 40 square foot area that was just in the middle of the block. Like if you look aerially, just right in the middle of the block, there was nothing but like a jungle.
Wow.
It was like weeds and bugs and everything.
Which is exactly how my yard looks right now.
That all that all was just like coming through, the hurricane fence, and into this area where this deck and bench and stuff didn't exist. So like that was kind of the first project when I moved in 2006, was to just really figure out a strategy for not having to do like weed interdiction every spring. Hence the large fence that's over permit size. Don't tell anybody. Oh wait, this is.
It's okay.
Don't tag safety and permits in your.
I won't. I will be sure not to. Yeah, look, if you're thinking about buying a house in New Orleans and you're like, I want a yard, know what you're getting into before you decide you want a yard.
It's definitely worth it.
It's worth it. We make beautiful foliage grows here all year long, but in the summertime it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. And so that was like the initial, I guess, phase of the not even the renovation, but just kind of like fixing up the place when I moved in. It was like, all right, let's get this, this sort of second half of the backyard together, and then started hosting like the big, boils and other parties outside. And actually, when we were setting up to do the renovation, I guess we broke ground, so to speak, or broke drywall in around Memorial Day of 2017. And so Good Friday that year, which is one of the days that I have the big boil, you're all invited if you can find it. Use your nose around Camp and Napoleon. Our architect Tom Holloman, who sadly doesn't live in New Orleans anymore, he moved to North Carolina, came to the boil, and Mandy at the time had expressed, we always have these big parties in the yard, but the living room's up front. The only time people hang out in the house is when they're in line for the bathroom. We'd like to sort of like merge the hangout space with the yard. So Tom, from the time that he came through the back gate, through the front backyard, through the second back gate into the backyard, kind of took it all in, and he found me at the boil spot, and he said, "Okay, man, I think I see what you're talking about. I got some ideas."
Yeah.
And then he enjoyed his time at the crawfish boil and came back a few weeks later with about 5 designs.
Nice.
And we honed it in from there.
Yeah. And I do have to say, it is very intelligently designed for the type of entertaining that you guys do. It's really, really smart. He did a great job. You guys did a great job with your yeses and your nos. And just beautiful treasure of a house. How fortunate you are.
Every day I'm reminded of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In
Awesome.
many, many ways. And yoga is like a great thing to sort of help you live in those in the gratitude for those things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even when my AC was out 2 weeks ago during like one of the heat advisories, I was like, all right, well, I got my own Bikram studio here, so let me take advantage.
Do some hot yoga in the house with no heater on. Best way to do it. Yeah, that's great. I'm so happy you're doing yoga. I love it. I love it when anybody's like, I'm doing yoga now. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. It pairs really well together with disc golf.
I bet.
Both like mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Because
I see that.
Requires a lot of concentration, I guess, and focus on a singular thought, which is get this frisbee into that basket over there. But then also
and keeping calm in the face of excitement, stress, whatever the situation might bring.
Not that I'm playing high stakes disc golf in the recreational novice division of most tournaments, but you want to do well.
It's real when you're in it, Awesome. Well, Harry, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate you for allowing me to pick your brain about all of these things.
I'm honored that you asked me, and I'll embarrass you a little bit, maybe not, and say I'm real proud of you for everything that you're doing. We've known each other a long time, and you weren't doing what you're doing now when we met, and it's been awesome to see you like work towards this goal and achieve it, actualize it, push past it, do things bigger than you probably had in mind when you started down this path. So that's awesome. I'm glad to see you thriving.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I cannot. That means so much to me. I really, really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I mean
much.
it.
Friends, man, have friends who lift you up. You know, this is important. You know, this is so fortunate that I have made some great friends here. I have continued relationships with great. I mean, we're both from Lafayette area, so
Yeah.
you know, we know each other in two worlds, and just
I like
great,
to refer
great
to it
people
as
here.
the Acadiana area,
Yeah, very
which
good.
is why I took
Yeah.
your crawfish compliment so highly and,
And,
seriously. When
well, you
somebody
should.
from Acadiana compliments your crawfish, you know you're doing it right.
That's right.
And if they don't say anything about your crawfish,
You should be suspect that you probably have some improvements to make. Tell everybody where they can find your music.
Oh, yeah.
Online,
all
on the
the-
internet, social media, any of that.
yeah, all of the streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify, all that. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to go to NewOrleansJohnnies.com.
Spell that for people.
Well, New Orleans is spelled like it's spelled, and then JOHNNYS. And you can buy a vinyl record that was pressed right here in New Orleans at the New Orleans Record Press in the Bywater. If you buy the special limited edition autograph version of it, 75 of those dollars are going to the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation. We had a good response with that when we
Awesome.
first released the record and donated like $500 at a time when they were then just redistributing that to programs that benefited musicians, and we still need those programs.
Yeah.
So
Probably more than ever when you guys kind of started that project.
oh yeah, absolutely. So go buy the record, and we'll make a donation because of it, or just go make a donation if you don't want to buy the record. That's cool. But
Yeah.
it's on our website. If you want to stream it, you can do that too. Couple of the local record stores around town too. Shout out to Good Earth Records up there on Magazine Street. And check out. You can also buy it actually at the New Orleans Record Press has a vinyl club, which I definitely
really
encourage
cool.
everybody to check out. Yeah, I think they go by like NORP is maybe their handle on Instagram,
Okay.
but you can find it easily. And so you can still buy our record in like this cool orange and white fleck vinyl from them directly. But they have a lot of other great artists that they press records for, and those
Yeah.
are all up on their vinyl club website, and I think you can like sign up for membership and all that too. So shout out to New
Very
Orleans
cool.
Record Press.
Very cool. Awesome. Cheers, my friend. Thank
Cheers,
you so
friend.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it. Go check out Harry's music. I'll put a link to that website in the description of the video. And as always, if you have any questions about moving to New Orleans real estate, please contact me. You can reach me on social media anywhere you're watching this video. My email is thatrealtorlady504@gmail.com, and I would love to talk to you guys about anything, really. If you haven't figured out yet that I just really like talking to people, just hit me up. So have a great day, and catch you next time. Bye-bye.